Hello everybody, I'm that one slot and this is my Mortal Kombat 2021 review. Allow me to preface this by first starting off and saying that I'm somebody whom, as often as I can, I am working in my first book and I've been writing bits and bobs for years, right, and then trying to improve myself as a writer's time on. So this isn't coming through me just being somebody who's just, trying to be difficult or twisted only. This isn't coming through that. This is coming through purely the standpoint of somebody who genuinely is into that craft. I've even directed short films myself, so this isn't coming from ignorance. This is coming from somebody who's spent a lot of time studying this and has his own opinions and point of view on it. So that's where this is coming from. This is how the only way I can explain this film to anybody who's watching the review. I was falling asleep watching this film. I was getting bored and I was getting annoyed watching this film. This to me was like the people in Hollywood have done enough damage to 80s films, so they decided to go back and damage 90s films. It's like a 90s film, it's like somebody's version of a 90s film using Mortal Kombat. To me, it was like fan fiction that way. That's how I saw it. As I look back, that's how I kind of see it. The difference is that they had the budget for the gore. And the thing is, I'm being very critical, but for a good reason. Let me explain. I'll explain all the things that grabbed my attention, all the pros first. I'll start with the positives. So here's the positives. I loved the first sequence between Sub-Zero and Scorpio. The Jax fight with Sub-Zero. The Kano fight with the monster thing. Kano as a character, he was brilliant. So much so that I was rooting for him. I also liked the fatality that happened to the woman with the wings. I don't remember who the guy was that did it. And I also liked the final fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero again. Am I missing anything? I might be missing something else, but that was it. Overall, that was it. And the thing is, everything I'm pointing out to you is what Mortal Kombat should be in the Mortal Kombat world, as I understand it. Because I'm no huge in the lore, but I know enough about it to know that it's supposed to be a video game where things get very violent and things are amazing because of that. And you've got different characters, and each of them has their own personality. When I'm watching a film and I start rooting for the villains, then you know for a fact that the film has failed to do what it should have been doing. It's as if they took the concept of, if you make your hero suffer, people feel sympathy. Well, I can feel sympathy for, and this is where the thing is. See, that's the pros section's past now. Let me go into the negatives, right? The negatives of this film is everything else outside of the positives I talked about. So, Cole is a character who used to be a fighter in his glory. He can't fight as well as he used to. When I watched him, he only attacks and he can't defend, and then he makes bad decisions and he needs his daughter to tell him how to fight. Those are all the things that take place inside the first fight with Cole. And I'm watching him going, surely this should be Johnny Cage. Unless I'm missing something. But it's not Johnny Cage. It's Cole. So, with it being what it is, with this film being what it stands for, let me just quickly explain how things went down. Apparently the marking that Cole has on him is a birthmark, but fighters can also kill other fighters with that thing and get the marking, which means there's two separate things to it, so they don't explain that. Sonya beats up Cole and beats up Kano every time they fight. She never once is beaten except by Melina. I'm not even joking. And I thought, if Kano lands a fatality that she can't kill, and this is the thing, she doesn't kill, hence why she doesn't have a marking. But when she has the chance, she doesn't take it because she can't kill. For some reason, she can't kill. And I thought, if she's special forces, how can you be a special forces type person and not be able to kill. Surely one of the job qualifications is that you're able to murder another human being, because you may have to kill someone to protect one of your fellow special forces elite soldiers that are going to be around you. But she's either never killed. See what I mean? To personify it, bad writing is what sums this thing up. Bad writing. And let me go even further, right? Once Kano, who manages to fight this thing enough, that he lands a fatality, when he goes to after that's all done, Kano's just jokes, filled with jokes. It made me laugh at every turn, right? He was only ever being honest and being, people would say he's been a dick, I would say he's been honest. He was just that guy. She wants to go to this temple, he cares for it, she makes a deal with him, they go, eventually they get into a fight, he loses within a minute. She also beats Cole within 10 seconds and beats Kano within 20, if that. That's how overpowered she is. She's overpowered, Kano's underpowered against her, but overpowered against everything else. So she's way higher than what Kano is, and way higher than what Cole is, but she can't beat this monster thing that Kano gets fatality with. You see my frustration with that. Hopefully you see my frustration with that. So, the guys with the marks can't beat somebody without a mark, but they can, but Kano can kill the thing that Cole can. So, this film just frustrated me. So eventually they get to this temple, I'm just skipping to this temple. And they have to get trained up. But she can't get trained, she doesn't have the marking bit. Kano does, and Cole does. But even though Kano led a specialised group, he cannot dodge a sweeping kick from one other guy, who I think is Liu Kang. Can he dodge that? He's not doing twice. Dodge it the first time, gets hurt again. They bitch out Kano unnecessarily. Then they bitch out Cole, which he was already bitched out in the beginning. And because his daughter's already kind of. So, then they go to that training, Cole fails, she's still there, Jax turns out to be there, don't know how he got there, was it Raiden got there? Doesn't explain it. And Jax thinks that she got in there, how did she get in there? She never took him there, never explain it. They explain there's different realms, they show you the pictures, don't explain it else properly, they don't even explain Mortal Kombat properly at the beginning. Yeah, that's explained properly. They go and Cole can't train up properly, can't get his arcana up so he leaves because he's not good enough, even though he's got the marking, because he can't figure out how to bring it out. It takes his family almost dying for him to bring this thing out. Then Kano gets a deal done with Kabal. Kabal suggests converting Kano in a deal, which happens. Kano turns on him. I couldn't blame Kano. He finds his arcana because they shame him and then he brings that out. So Kano gets his arcana. Once the arcana comes out, he's head and shoulders above her still, but spoiler, actually we can get that way. So the group, he breaks the shield, there's a shield down to protect him for the train. The group comes in to kill our heroes. Melina fights Sonya Blade, beats Sonya Blade. You would think Kano would want that job, but Melina comes in, fights, kills her. No, doesn't kill her, beats her. And then Kano finishes her up and dropping a hand into the thing because they can't fight in hand-to-hand combat for some reason. Kabal beats Liu Kang and he's getting the better of him. Cole beats Goro only once his family's in the verge of dying, not in the verge of dying, but in the verge of getting attacked and actually killed. And even when he gets there, kind of thing, he's not back and he gets nice round and he's able to, he takes his daughter's advice again to duck and dodge and whatever else. And once that's all done with, eventually, once he gets the cannon, once he attack, he's able to, once she tells him what to do, he's able to learn how to do it within 10 seconds, he's able to duck, dodge and then finally do that thing and the rest of it. I didn't care about the. So after that's done, Cole, as he's known in the story, joins up with the rest of them, and then they reveal stupidly that he's got the blood, so Sub-Zero targets him. And one of the guys gets grabbed by the main villainous guy, gets soul sucked to him, but they couldn't stop it, but they could, kind of thing, because the time was there, but it wasn't, because the time so fucking long to get into that, so that was that. eventually, once the villains are done what they're done, it goes back to I think it goes, they get rescued and taken to a certain place, and so there's something in between there, I forget what it was. But Kano goes to get his money for the last for taking it, because it kind of got there to some degree. And Jack saves her and finds his thing. He doesn't have to fight her. He did a wee training session, but he wasn't feeling. He wasn't getting his terms. Then he has to lift the thing off the top here. He does eventually, and he gets that thing. Then she has to go fight Kano. She goes and fight. Well, that's the thing. Once they're done, then they join the wrestling, and then Kano and her, they come up with a plan, because the guys don't mind, the other team don't mind breaking the rules, but they haven't done a single thing within the fight illegally, basically. So a plan comes up, so it becomes this tournament thing. It's a 2-on-2 and a 1-on-1. Cole fights Melina, does badly, it doesn't do very well against her. He's like matching against her, but can't KO her. We'll get to that in a second. Jax fights this other guy. No. There's a 1-on-1, there's a 2-on-2, there's another 1-on-1. So Liu Kang beats Kabal. Jax beats the other guy with a hammer. She beats Kano for the third time, no problems whatsoever there. And finally, Cole can't beat Melina until Sonya comes through and somehow just gets her a cannon. It's easy for her, so there's no progress for her whatsoever. So, then Cole gets put through and fights Sub-Zero. Scorpion comes back, Scorpion and fight, and it becomes a 2-on-1 unnecessarily until Scorpion finally gets it. And I like the combat between Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but I didn't like anything else about that fight whatsoever. I didn't see the reason why Cole needed to be involved in that. And then after that sort of in place, Scorpion needs to give a message to Cole about protecting the borderline, but what's the point? Sorry, although Cole, to be quite honest with you, is weak. If there was a case of progression, he was the weakest character. So, and that was it. Then the next scene is him leaving for Hollywood to go and get Johnny Cage. There's an argument between Raiden and the other guy, and Raiden sends him away, and they have a bit of a hero laugh about it, and after that, Cole goes and gets Johnny Cage and it's the film, and it's just... See, the thing is, when you're a writer and you're pulling these things apart, it's frustrating, because you are ostensibly, you don't want to rip the shit at it, but you are ripping the shit at it. Because you're seeing all these things that don't make sense. And most of this film did not make sense to me. Most of it made zero sense to me. So, there was good bits, but the rest of the negatives outweighed the positives. It was that simple for me. It was like an 90s film, and it just wasn't worth it for me. And if I knew more about the lore, I'd probably be angrier than I was. But it's a film I'd recommend if you're the kind of person that likes to watch regular to media, best of the worst. It's the kind of film I'd expect to see in that, where people can dissect the logic behind it. It's that type of film. If you're somebody who doesn't mind sitting and watching a film and just being entertained by something and not thinking about it, have at it. It's your type of film. If you're somebody who was frustrated by what didn't make sense to you, don't even attempt to watch it. If you're somebody who wants to sit and watch something and get drunk and just laugh at it, go for it. I give it a 2 out of 5 overall as a film, and that's me being complimentary for the positives and even anything else. Sonya was overpowered. Kano was underpowered after the fatalities he gave. Cole was seriously just useless for most of it, and even after he got his things, he was only good as a supporting player, and that was it. He wasn't even, he's supposedly the chosen one, but his backup is as good as any. His backup was as good as it got, and he needed family and constant inspiration to get him going. He was like a representation of the audience that we're trying to get, so you can tell I didn't like this. If anybody thinks I'm being sexist towards Sonya Blade, go watch a film called The Old Maid starring Bette Midler. I loved that film. It didn't have any action in it. I was falling asleep during an action film. What does that tell you about it? When I watched The Old Maid, I was hooked all the way through because of great acting, great writing, great storytelling. It was amazing as a film. Brilliant for what it was. And I loved that, and I loved her acting, I loved the acting of all the rest of the crew and the cast. The crew dedicated over there. It was a great film. And it was well before Mortal Kombat was created. Go watch that, then throw anything back then. It was... I know a great film with great acting when I see it. I know bad films with bad acting and bad storytelling when I see it. This was plot driven, not character driven. And the only time it became character driven, even close to it, was towards the very end. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. If somebody said to me, "Oh, can you recommend me a great film to sit and watch?" Well, it's not going to be this one. I'll say, if you want to watch a film that just is nothing, you can just sit and watch it and laugh and not take it seriously, watch that one. But if you want something to frustrate you, watch this. And I had a friend come and tell me, they watched it and they said, it's not bad. No bad to this film is like giving it Oscar worthy contention rating. No bad. It was filmed up well. It was choreographed for what it was well. Pacing was off. The cuts between it was too jarring at times. Well cast, right? The special effects were great. Beyond that, nothing else was great. Nothing else stood out to me. Beyond that, that was it. So why? The positives I pointed out to you are things that shouldn't have pointed out to you in terms of the cast and the acting. The acting, I would say, the acting, Kano did great acting. Kano was great, so I didn't buy. I wasn't waiting for the acting. Kano stood out to me. And this is the thing about great acting. Great acting will stand out to you. When you see great actors on stage, and I did stage acting, so if I am watching an actor who is believable and I'm convinced by it, you can tell and you want to see more. It's like watching Kano in Mortal Kombat is like watching Robert Downey Jr. in Zodiac. That's the equivalent. So I was getting bored of this film. I was more interested by a film made back in the 50s I was less bored by a film made in the 50s, potentially 50s, 40s, with Bette Davis. Less bored by that than a film called Mortal Kombat that should have been about golden fight. What does that tell you? Anyway, I'm just going to leave this where it is. I'm rating this film anyhow by an insult to my intelligence and your intelligence, so I'll just leave it where it is. But if you watched this and you enjoyed it, thank you. It was just painful for me to get through it. I'm not even exaggerating. Anyway, whatever you are, I hope you have a good day and take care of yourselves because I'm not putting myself through that shit one more time. And